Hey, welcome to 23 Degrees Sideways. This is like take 7 or something. I'm having a really hard time getting through some of these videos. So, we have to talk about coronavirus, which means we're talking about time-bound stuff. So the videos have to come out on a schedule, and they're not necessarily going to be relevant in 2 years, which is actually interesting because this last summer, late spring, late May, early June, I was trying to start a series of videos about like a retrospective, like a fictional series of videos from 15 years in the future. You know, it's 2035, and talking to the kids or the grandkids or whatever about what it was like when we did the big societal split, you know, and we ended up with the walled cities and the outlands, and, you know, how it was the mask wearers and stuff. And it's really funny because the whole thing was highly fictionalized. It was about information control, you know, the homeschoolers with the information freedom versus the city dwellers with the controlled information flows, and how the internet split, and you ended up with the controlled internet and the wild net, you know, people having to actually go underground and pipe and use secure tunnels and stuff not physical tunnels, internet tunnels, like IP tunneling and not IP tunneling exactly. I'm going to get into too many weird details, but for example, making an SSH connection so that you could put data through without the monitors knowing that you were putting data through, or what kind. You know, basically like a Silk Road for information. The fact that we need a Silk Road for information is actually fucking bizarre, right? And the thing is that when I looked at that, and I'm like, oh, here we are, we live in the desert and the free lands and stuff, all of a sudden, it's happening. Like, this is supposed to be this highly fictionalized, kind of almost satirical explanation of coronavirus, and here we are, you know? It's also highly politicized, and I'm going to just get into this really quickly, really short. You know, I made a comment about Gretchen Whitmer being a complete lunatic to a family member last night, and I got a blow up in response. And the fact that attacking Gretchen Whitmer is somehow anti-democratic is what I can't understand. Like, you know, this is a family member who's all into, you know, gardening at home, homesteading, nuts and granola, you know, baby wearing, diaperless babies, the whole thing. But Gretchen Whitmer, because she's laughable, because she literally thinks that it's too risky to grow food. You know, that kind of stupid, crazy shit. And, you know, but defending her is now a political statement. Attacking her is apparently a political statement. Attacking her insanity, attacking her policies, attacking the idea of people are too dumb to have access to seeds. Not healthy. This is not healthy. There's this dude on Twitter, got retweeted a bunch. Like, I've seen his stuff retweeted by Tim Pool and Adam and a whole bunch of other people, and it's really crazy because he doesn't just live in a bubble. He's actually full on like, I don't know how to describe exactly how bad he is. He's not just in a bubble. He's totally conspiracy nuts, okay? He honestly thinks Putin is running a white supremacist conspiracy to rule the world for oil companies and white supremacy or something. His name is David Atkins. David O. Atkins, right? And he got retweeted. This one's Tim, but, you know, you can't run on a civil war footing hopped up on conspiracy theories, hating everyone, mainlining QAnon. What the fuck, man? I get accused of being QAnon periodically, and I still don't quite get it. Like, I get accused of being a Nazi because I'm, not licking AOC's feet or whatever the fuck woke mandatory behavior is this time. Get out of your car and dance, put your fist up in the air, whatever the fuck I'm supposed to do today to show that I'm not a Nazi. I think it's the Nazi salute to show you're not a Nazi at this point. But whatever, don't care. I get accused of being QAnon for pointless reasons too. I know what the National Socialist German Workers' Party actually was, but I don't really have a link into what QAnon... Like, I know what QAnon is supposed to be, but I don't know enough people in QAnon to have an insider's view and so that they can tell me what they think. I know what the media says, but I know that the media lies the majority of the time, so I have no idea what they are. But this guy, literally giving what he's saying is conservatives are literally giving themselves COVID, literally, just to own the libs. They're dying in COVID wards, insisting they don't have COVID because it's a liberal plot. This guy is a nutter. Okay, COVID wards. He's got this image of conservative people sitting in open air tuberculosis wards with COVID, reinfecting each other, coughing, and he is kind of a nutcase. But the point here is that he's part of that division idea that if you disagree with any of the mask restrictions, lockdowns, get rid of jobs, get rid of small businesses, close everything down, government mandate life on the dole. If you disagree with any of that, you are a conspiracy theorist who denies that coronavirus exists. This sounds familiar, right? This sounds like anyone who has some alternative solution set for pollution problems or advancement of technology is a global warming denier. If you ask a question, you're a denier. You're a heretic. There is an orthodoxy, and the orthodoxy changes from moment to moment and purpose to purpose, depending on who wants your money or your mouth around their cock or whatever it is. There's this thing going on, right? Where they turn any question into heresy, denial. You're a COVID denier. I've actually heard that, COVID denier. Because I don't wear a mask. Because I say that the most important thing you can do is go outside and hike. Take a walk outdoors. No sunglasses, the shortest sleeves, most skin exposure that your weather will allow, and the law. Naked in the woods is apparently illegal. Go. Get the vitamin D, get the movement. Every time I say exercise, people are like, oh, you need a little solo bubble room with a treadmill. I'm like, that's not the kind of exercise we need. We need to go outside and move like humans move. Outdoors, in the real world, in a real environment. Spin class in a plastic bubble it's not the same thing. But why is it so politicized? Why is it so divided that if you think there's a healthy response? I sit here and I talk about Walmart. I'm in the Walmart parking lot because it's just where I am right now. Walmart needs to be open 24 hours because of Corona. Duh. Technically, I'm a high-risk individual. I'm actually like that whole disabled veteran. I can't work indoors. I can't work indoors before coronavirus. I just can't HVAC and mold and toxins and Gulf War syndrome and right? So I'm no good in an office space anymore, which is fine. Think about that though, right? I'm technically a high-risk individual. I don't worry about it because I go outside and hike, and I know what the data is for people getting coronavirus if they have an adequate natural vitamin D production, because vitamin D is not a vitamin, it's a hormone, and it's produced in your body under certain circumstances, exposure to sunlight being one of them. And I'm light-skinned, that whole blondish thing, which unfortunately for the social justice memes of the moment means that I'm more sensitive to sun exposure or something, and the effect seems to be greater, which is kind of a fucked up situation. If your skin's darker than mine, go outside and hike more. Okay? Doesn't matter. But Walmart keeps reducing their hours instead of extending their hours. The best thing for me to do is go shopping at 1 in the morning. If I really need to go grab whatever, toilet paper and sausage or whatever it is, some steak, the best thing for me to do is shop in off hours. 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, midnight. But they've reduced the hours, 8 to 8 means everybody has to do all their shopping in this compressed time frame. And we're in a rural community where work actually happens because of environmental factors, like cows exist, the days get hot, stuff like that. So there's a fair amount of shopping that happens at 4 to 6 in the morning, 4 to 7 in the morning, 4 to 8, whatever. And there's a fair amount of shopping that happens after 8 p.m. It's actually a problem to compress everybody's shopping into that 8 to 8 window. And, but I mention this and I say this, and it means I'm a COVID denier because I don't like the way the restrictions are. I think the restrictions are dumb. I think they're dumb from a disease control standpoint. Not just dumb from a freedom standpoint. That's an absolute problem. And I am absolutely one of those people who's going to say, no, you cannot arbitrarily restrict basic constitutional freedoms, basic civil guarantees, basic civil liberties, just because of the way you want to control the virus this week. No, I don't buy that. I'm absolutely hard on the constitutional side. But there's the dumb side too. Most of these restrictions are actually functionally idiotic, counterproductive, against the science. That's a problem. But if I say, hey, the store needs to be open longer, you need to have the small businesses open. You need to do everything you can to make sure that the maximum number of businesses are open so that people aren't crowded into one fucking store for the entire county. No, I'm a denier. Especially according to people. I mean, it's not just this crazy guy on Twitter. It's all over, I see this when I talk to people on the street, Facebook. You can tell the politics by the color or the style of the mask, what people wear too. It's kind of funny, but that's about it for now. We'll just go on. Weird world. Your view on coronavirus is going to be mostly determined by your politics, if you're on the left, or assigns your political space if you're on the right. Like, they will tell you you're far right if you disagree with them. It's kind of an odd situation to be in. But that's what we get for having 5 people own most of the media on the planet. Cheers. Stay sideways. Talk to you soon.